Number 17, Indiana will play Purdue. Number 5, Purdue to host. Tip is at 6:30. St. Mary's and Gonzaga will tip off the toughest matchup in that conference play usually. St. Mary's at 15 and Gonzaga at 12. Game time is at 9. Kansas State first, and then move on to Mizzou. All coming out with victories over the week. We'll start with the Jayhawks, who in a whole second half and responded with every basket TCU made would respond. Final was 63-58. Grady Dick had 19. Kansas will play West Virginia. Huggy Bear has had an on and off season. Definitely don't expect West Virginia to win in Kansas. West Virginia is on one of the last 4 byes in the bracketology. Baylor played Kansas State. Baylor was favored by 3, but Kansas State won 75-66. Jerome Tang, former assistant for Baylor, he beat his old club out. Keontae Johnson finished with 25. Kansas State will play Oklahoma State Cowboys this weekend. Oklahoma State to host. Tip is at 1 on ESPNU. KU's landing spot is number 1 in the brackets in Vegas. Kansas State is a number 2 seed and would play Vermont right now. In the SEC, Mizzou won a game over Mississippi State in overtime as Kobe Brown missed a layup to put the game into overtime. But Mizzou would respond with a 3 and then another 3, won by Carter to hit it late to give them the lead. Then Mississippi State would respond to grab the lead and lead by 1. The first 3 was hit by Noah Carter, assisted by Trey Gilman, to give the Tigers a lead 63-62. But Deshaun Davis made a jumper for Mississippi State to give them the lead 64-63. And Nick Honor responded with a 3, 66-64. Just missed a jumper this time. Eric Reed-Douglas missed a layup. And that was all. Your final in the battle for the ball. Final was 66-64, Mizzou in overtime. Mizzou will have their toughest game in the SEC season against Georgia from Athens. That's the next 3 games. 2 of them, one of the other road games is against LSU next week against Ole Miss, Missouri to host. A double bye, and that would help their rankings probably. Right now, Missouri is 10th, expected to play Duke according to bracketology in the Midwestern Conference, which would come home to the Sweet 16 to lead 8 to Kansas City. No favorites on the games, on the first 3 games right now. As you hear there mentioned, the Alabama Crimson Tide decided to play suspect related to the crime killing admitted by a lawyer to the crime scene that killed a woman. If you don't bring that gun, maybe it doesn't kill a woman. The lawyer wouldn't have said that if that wasn't true. Maybe my dad should be the interviewer for this question. It came along after a police said he delivered a gun to a teammate who was charged with the fatal shooting near campus. It is also hours after the university said Miller would remain active. Number 2 ranked team and isn't considered a suspect. I could have put Stephen A. Smith on here, but I decided not to because he kind of retreated on his words. You can take a look at that link right here, posted in my opinion. I have heard and seen enough. Kids get kicked out of school for way lesser. He should never be able to play at Alabama again. This situation is where it takes winning trumps a normal situation where a kid going down to school and all that stuff is beyond this topic. But playing another minute at Alabama should not be happening. He can either go to the NBA or go back to another school if he wants to, and a school that's willing to take on that crap. Nate Oates defends Alabama's response and taking it very seriously. Nate Oates does think Alabama did the right thing.
We found out some new facts yesterday. We found out some new facts today. Here's what we know. Brandon Miller was not there for the verbal altercation. Brandon was already on his way to pick up Darius when Darius texted him. Brandon never left his vehicle and was not involved in the collection of the weapon. The shooting occurred just seconds after Brandon arrived. Brandon has been fully cooperating witness and is not a suspect. Yesterday, we began to hear some new things from the hearing.
The Ole Miss Rebels who have fired head coach Kermit Davis. There are talks about Rick Pitino returning to the game. The Royals center fielder Drew Waters, a new signee, was favored to become the center fielder. Now that's up in the air as he got hurt, and also now up in the air is will he be ready for opening day. He's out for at least 6 weeks, announced on Monday. Here's the injury announcement. In baseball, there's been some new rule changes meant for the game to go faster. That is, one of them is no shift. They now have a shot clock and it expires just like in basketball. Manny Machado got the first strike. He wasn't in the batter's box in 8 seconds. And if you're not in the batter's box in 8 seconds, the clock expires. Other football news. We spent all week about Eric Bieniemy. Bieniemy says Hall of Famer LaShawn McCoy can form his own opinion. Patrick Mahomes says the right thing again. I hope Eric Bieniemy gets the best. He was a good offensive coordinator and deserves a head coaching job. In the last hour, Matt Nagy will replace Eric Bieniemy, much expected, on the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs. Was the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs 2016-2017 before taking the Bears job. Bieniemy knew it was time to move on, he said. I will admit it. I have no idea who Sam Howell is. He's their starting quarterback in Washington. The Chiefs have 7 players among the 101 power rankings. Of course, Patrick Mahomes is first. Chris Jones, defensive tackle. Who was discussion on day 10 about being traded. Travis Kelce, tight end, was number 4, the best tight end ever in my opinion. Center, Creed Humphrey, in my opinion, an underrated player because he played center. He has done an excellent job for the Chiefs. Number 88, Nick Bolton, M-I-Z-Z-O-U. He's played well. He played really well in the last Super Bowl. Picked up a fumble for a touchdown. Joe Tooney, guard, has been very good and very consistent for the Chiefs. Also an underrated player. Number 99 was cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. Also coming in for the tackles at this quarterback spot, and also comes up with the few with 3 interceptions, tied for the league. That's it. This is Sam Vaughn for Sam Sports.